It is my personal opinion that everyone should have a retail job at least once. Why? Because there you'll discover how truly entitled and crazy some of your fellow human beings are. And it also lets you develop a different level of empathy. With that being said, a lot of people start out their careers using retail positions and then maybe struggle to either get promoted within the retail system or transition into a different field. This transition can be overwhelming because a lot of people don't really know how to phrase and sell their retail experience for other types of jobs, which is why in this video I'll be talking about how you can perfect your resume and make it transferable to any type of job, specifically if you have retail experience. For the best college and career advice, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every single Monday. I personally have put my high school and college retail experience on my resume to land different positions at schools, universities, and nonprofits. And I have also taught this 5-step system to my students to help them do the same. So let's get right into it. So right now, I'm going to walk you through the 5 steps to creating a perfectly aligned resume with any job. And the first step is going to be to create a resume bank. You only have to do this once, and then you can use it for basically any jobs that you're applying for. And you want to just take a few minutes and write down really quickly every single experience, job, volunteer experience that you've ever had, and just put it out onto one doc. And this really alleviates the stress of creating different resumes for different types of jobs because you don't have to think about it and really rack your brain for it. It's all there. And what I like to do with my resume banks is to color code the different experiences because they usually fall into different buckets. Like as you can see here, I have my retail jobs. Oh yeah, I should note this is a fake resume bank, so some things are inspired from my experience, but this is a sample, so it's imaginary. Anyway, the retail jobs for this imaginary person, like the Starbucks and the restaurant host, are color-coded in green. I have education here in yellow, and then the political experiences, since this person is a poli-sci major, are in red. So that makes it really easy to pick the right experiences for the different types of jobs that you're applying for. Now, the second part of creating a perfectly aligned resume is you want to copy and paste the whole job description into a Word doc or a Google Doc. Now, this is a real job description that I just found off of Indeed, and it's for a field organizer for a progressive political movement, progressive candidates and things like that. So something that this political science major might be interested in. And then the third step is to highlight every single piece of the job description that talks about either a crucial skill that you need or a relevant experience that they really want you to have. So as you can see here, I've already taken the time to do that, and like most of this job description is going to fall into that category. I didn't highlight the miscellaneous stuff because, like, as a candidate, I may or may not be bilingual, you know, I may or may not have call center experience, but like everything else you really want to hit in terms of what you include on your resume. Now, the fourth step is to steal the hell out of this job description, because not only is the company or organization likely going to be using ATS software, which is basically software that scans the resume, aligns it with the job description, and then determines whether or not you're a fit just purely based on that. So you don't even really get your resume in front of a real human being first. You want to make sure that you have literally the exact same keywords copied from the job description into your resume. So I'm going to walk you through all of that right now. Here is my sample resume, and since this person has experience in retail, education, and politics, it looks like the political experience is obviously going to be very relevant, and so is the retail experience, because down here, as you can see, it says customer service experience a plus, which, you know, we definitely have right now. And communication and organizational skills, all of these things you get from retail, so we can definitely include that. In this case, the education experience, like being a camp counselor and doing a an after-school reading program, is not going to be as relevant. And since you only have so much space on the resume, you're only going to want to include, you know, maybe the 4 most relevant experiences. Okay, so now what do we actually write in the bullet points? This is deceptively easy, or I'm about to make this deceptively easy. So let's say that while this person was a campaign intern, of course, they canvassed and they organized canvassers and they went door to door and all that good stuff that you do as part of a political campaign. And then you see here that for the responsibilities, they really want, somebody who can train the canvassers and like provide them with positive culture, ensure compliance, blah, blah, blah. So if you've actually done it and if it's true, you can basically steal the wording from the responsibilities on your resume. So instead of having to come up with stuff from scratch, they give it to you right here. If you actually did this, which let's say this hypothetical person did, you can literally just steal that. Now, say for example that you did not actually have certain recruitment goals, or like this particular part of it wasn't true, you can delete it and then you can replace it with something else that was true. So that let's say you definitely trained fellow canvassers. Then you kind of have two birds with one stone. So once you have that point on your resume, you want to highlight this with a different color to show that it's already done, it's already marked off. Okay, let's see. Okay, same thing here. Like if you were an intern and you were kind of leading the canvassers, you can definitely say that each phase of the campaign. Okay, and we want to include quantitative results whenever possible. So let's just say this person trained 20 canvassers, provided canvassers to succeed during each phase of the campaign, and then what were the results? Resulting in an average of 50 additional voter registrations per day. I don't know, I'm completely making this up, but you understand the concept behind this. Like you want to include the numbers so that people really have a sense of what type of responsibility you had, and then also the types of results that you were able to bring. So, your resume really stands out as much as possible. But of course, like always be honest, guys. Like, don't make this stuff up. Okay, so what you came to this video for, and what I also really want to talk about, is stuff that is not directly related to the job description. So I pulled the shift supervisor experience from Starbucks onto this resume as well, because it seems like it really applies. Even though the exact context might not be the same, it's still going to be very applicable. So let's say as a shift supervisor, your manager let you do some hiring, so you can put that in there. Done. Okay. Ensured compliance with health codes and Starbucks best practices. See, I'm modifying it very slightly to better fit the context that I was in, but still being very true to this wording and using those keywords like compliance and best practices. Okay, ensuring canvassers properly, so we could say team members properly perform, or I should say even more accurately, baristas, team of 10 baristas, compliance with health codes and service practices. Okay, provide daily reports. Okay, to store manager of the store's success. We want to include the student gov rep experience for sure. And And now with the jobs and positions that are further down on the resume, we can really look at those secondary points and see if we can work them in there. So you need to have a deep commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Maybe there was some sort of diversity initiative that the school was running that this person was a part of planning. So planned XYZ initiative to promote diversity on campus and expand identity-based student organizations. Sure. You all kind of get the idea. Like, you want to really just be able to cross out all of these and have all of them very, very clearly reflected on your resume at some point. And that's going to be step 4 of making sure that your resume is perfect and good to go. Now, the last step that I want you to take is to go to a website like Jobscan. There are also other sites, but Jobscan is the one that I've used. And in order to get the pro version, you do need to pay. A lot of universities, they have a relationship or like a contract with Jobscan where you can get the pro version for free. So definitely check out your career center and see if they are on that list. Once you do that, you want to copy and paste the full resume onto there. Of course, this is not my full resume, but just for the example. And then you're also going to copy and paste the full job description. And the great thing about this is, as I mentioned earlier, the companies and organizations are going to be using software like Jobscan to indicate whether or not that your resume is a good fit. And so you want to make sure that you can really get past that barrier. Okay, so as you can see here, my resume is not doing amazing. And that's the other thing that I really want you all to remember is that while this is a great tool for really evaluating your resume, it's not like the end-all be-all. Like, I've worked very painstakingly on resumes and putting them through Jobscan again and again. And you can't crack like 60% or something like that. And I know it says on here that you really want to hit 80, but there's only so much that you can fit on your resume realistically, and certain keywords on your cover letter that they deem to be important that honestly may not be. So really just take it with a grain of salt, but it is important and a really helpful tool when it comes to optimizing your resume. So as you can see here, I use recruitment and hiring. I need to use the word campaigns. That's a huge one. Oh, that's the thing too. Like, sometimes if a word is, plural and you use the word in a singular form or vice versa, it's not going to show up on Jobscan. So that's what I mean when I say take it with a grain of salt, because, even a tiny thing like that, the software doesn't catch. Okay, multitask, people-oriented, Spanish. So these are the skills that you can include in the skills section of your resume. Okay, so this is a really useful tool, and I highly recommend uploading or copy and pasting your resume into Jobscan before you go ahead and submit it, because it really gives you a good idea of what you need to tweak and what you can add to make your resume as strong as possible before you submit it. So I finished up the resume, and as you can see here, there are a few things that I want to highlight really quickly. So because this person does not have a ton of experience with the political field, I made a point to include a summary at the top, and I really suggest doing this if you're transferring fields of any kind. You really want to use the space that's in the summary to demonstrate your experience and to tie everything together so that it's all a package that is geared towards this job that you're applying to. So as you can see here, I put dependable and people-oriented field organizer because this is the job that you're applying for and you want it to appear as many times as possible in the resume. I got those words dependable and people-oriented from the job description itself, which is down here. So those are the ones that I picked, but honestly, any of these would have been fine. With campaign experience, again, that word campaign, you want it to appear as many times as possible. and 5+ years of customer service experience, passionate about promoting the continued development of others through progressive causes. So I think I got continued development of others through the job description as well. Yes, here it is. Promoted the continued development of canvassers. Sorry, it's a little bit hard to read. But yeah, that is from right there, and I thought it sounded really great. Okay, and then possesses reliable transportation, a driver's license, a working laptop. I put that there because it was listed as one of the requirements, so they must have those things. There's no other place to really put that other than in the summary. So just from reading this, if I was the person hiring, I'd be like, this person seems like an incredible fit for this role. But of course, your experience needs to support that. Then at the bottom, you can see I added a little section for education and the skills. So in the job description, they ask for Spanish. If you have Spanish, this is the place to put that, as well as these more soft or general skills, even though it may seem redundant or obvious to put like organization and communication. Again, you want those keywords to show up as much as possible, and that's where it would be in your skill section. So this is a pretty decent resume for somebody who has a decent amount of experience in a retail role, but is also looking to leverage their other experiences to fully transition into a role that they've never really done before. Now that we've gotten through the main part of the video and showing you guys how to do the resume step by step, I wanted to do a quick little FAQ because you might have a lot of different questions bubbling up in your mind at this point. The first question that I get a lot is, do I really have to do a different resume for each job that I'm applying for? And really simply, the answer is no. Of course, you have those different buckets that your job applications fall under. Like I mentioned, this example included education, retail, and political work, but you can have a resume for each type of category. However, when it comes to your resumes and applications for different jobs, you should definitely run your resume through an ATS software so that you make sure that you have those keywords hit, because different job applications and different companies will have slightly different changes to their wording even within those bigger fields. Another question that I get a lot is, I'm interested in applying to XYZ role with my retail experience, but I'm not really sure if it's worth applying given that I don't have the background that they might want. So how do I know if it's worth a shot? And my answer to this question is, of course, if they require a certain number of years of experience, say 2 years of accounting experience or 3 years of engineering experience, it's not really a great idea to apply if you don't have that. However, if it's an entry-level position and there aren't really a number of years that they require, and instead the description is more vague when it comes to the qualifications and really emphasizes skills, then I think it's 100% worth a shot. And then the last question that I get a lot is with quantitative results on resumes. Sometimes people might feel like they're not being entirely truthful when it comes to including these numbers, because they're like, did I really do, that amount of sales, or did I really serve that many customers? And what I would say to that is, it really depends on what your intuition tells you. Of course, you shouldn't just, make stuff up. You need to be honest on your resume. However, if you were a barista in a high volume store, for example, and you interacted with, 80 customers in an hour or something like that, you should definitely include that on your resume, because it shows the person reading it that you can excel in a fast-paced environment and handle stress well. Also, if you are getting started on your job search as a recent college student, I highly recommend checking out my videos on the job search for recent college grads, LinkedIn for college students, and then also Unemployment, which is the most recent one, and different strategies that I have personally used to handle that. Once again, please comment down below the different types of topics that you want to see me talk about on this channel. I really love hearing feedback from you all, and it's really going to help me shape the direction that I decide to move in from now on. So please let me know if any ideas come to mind. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something from this video. I'll see you next Monday.